We all know that kids are born with an innate sense of love and compassion, and this next organization, Kids for Change, is all about fostering those gifts and empowering kids at an early age to get involved in their community and make a difference. And with me today is Shannon Lashley and Maureen Daly, and they are co-founders of Kids for Change. Ladies, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, Shannon, tell us a little bit more about this organization, because I know there is a lot that it has to offer.
Absolutely. Well, Kids for Change was essentially started in the heart of a 7-year-old little boy, my little boy, named Tyler. Tyler is blessed with extremely good health, and unfortunately we woke up to a little scare one morning when he was 7, and he couldn't move his legs and was in extremely bad pain. And so of course, mother, scared, called his pediatrician, and after a really long morning at his pediatrician's office, they determined that perhaps the testing that they were able to do wasn't exactly enough. And so they referred us over to the hospital in the emergency room, which frightened Tyler. He had never, of course, been before, luckily. But he was very touched by that day. It was scary for him. It was a 12-hour day, and luckily it ended up that we found out that he had a virus that he had basically caught in his joints. And it wasn't what they thought it was, because they told me spinal meningitis, and that was very scary. But what happened was we were listening to the radio a few months later, and they were doing a radiothon for the Children's Miracle Network and Duke Children's Hospital. And Tyler was sitting in the back seat, and we are enthusiastic givers in that campaign, and enjoy very much what the Children's Miracle Network offers. And Tyler said from the back seat, he said, "Hey, Mommy, do kids really have to live at the hospital?" And I said, "Yeah, honey, unfortunately some kids do." And that kind of rode on his heart for a while. That was in February, and by that September, when we were planning his 8th birthday party, he said, instead of taking a trip and going out with a whole bunch of friends and having a big party, I'd really like to get my best friend and go make bears for the kids at Duke Children's Hospital. I want to go.
That's great.
Yeah, I want to go to Build-A-Bear, and I want to go make bears for these kids. And after a moment of intense pride, I said, well, that sounds fabulous. And so we worked that out. We made a day of it and went to Build-A-Bear, told them what we were doing, had a fabulous time making bears for a few kids. And when we got home, he had been sent, in lieu of gifts for himself, he had been sent animals from family members and friends to take as well. And Tyler kind of looked at the collection that we had together, and he said, "Wow, this is really amazing, but I bet that there's more kids than this represents."
He was overwhelmed by the act of serving others. And he kind of caught that service bug at a very young age.
Very young age. And so what happened was he decided to take it to his 3rd grade teacher, Melissa Eller at Inglewood Elementary School, who is absolutely fabulous and has a heart of gold. She decided that it would be fabulous for the class to take part in a project where they could collect bears and stuffed animals for the kids at Duke, but also presented it to Mary Ann Cannon, the principal of Inglewood, and she opened it up to the entire Inglewood community. And 600 bears later, we rented a truck and drove to Durham to deliver all of the good love that the children of Rocky Mount
And so
put
that
together.
was the initial starting point for coming up with this organization.
Absolutely. He said,
wonderful.
"What else can we do?" And I said, "Honey, let's make it official. And you can have Kids for Change, and we're going to make it so that kids have an outlet for giving back to their communities and helping other kids."
And that's exactly what it is. And it also, in addition to that, it builds self-confidence and teaches the kids that they can make a difference in the community, no matter
Right.
how small of an effort or
Right.
how large or how young or old they are, which is really fantastic. And your motto is?
Well, we change the world one kid at a time.
I love that. And Maureen, you have a lot of different projects going on right now.
We do.
Tell us a little bit about the projects you offer.
Well, it's interesting because the projects, I think in our, the way we approach kids is one of the first lessons we want to teach them is not only that philanthropy is great, and there's a place for that in all of our lives, but that philanthropy does not only mean money. You can give financially, but you can give your talents, you can give your time. There are so many ways that we can give to one another, to organizations and the like. And so we really try to come up with a variety of projects, which also helps kids of all ages take part. So we categorize our projects in different ways. We look at local projects that typically service the greater Rocky Mount area, Nash and Edgecombe counties. We look at projects that operate on a more national scale, and then we also look at global projects. And for instance, Project BEAR is actually one that we would have called local, that we incorporated the good works of kids right here in our town to better the lives of kids who are going through some challenging times. Every year we mount a team for Relay for Life, and we have kids who actually walk the track out at the Rocky Mount Stadium and walk 18 hours for pediatric cancer patients.
That is wonderful.
So they have a very specific focus in that particular national program. Even though our event happens locally, we're actually impacting an organization on a national scale.
And they do everything that the adults do.
Oh, absolutely.
They're involved in checking people in, and
Absolutely.
That is wonderful. And you also have, I know we were talking earlier, the Project in a Bag.
Right.
Which is kind of what you're talking about, where you really take all of the time and the guesswork out of it.
Exactly.
So that people can just come to you and you facilitate that
Well,
in a
we
way,
came
correct?
up with Project in a Bag because we want parents with their kids, families and kids, to be able to do projects with us. But we also know that a great way to reach a lot of kids quickly and in a slightly different setting, a social setting and an academic setting, is through classrooms. And Projects in a Bag were really created, and while we use them for families, they were really created for teachers, so that if they said, boy, I'd love to get my class involved in something on the philanthropic side and local, we got a whole mess of different projects that literally we can put everything you need to know and everything you need to do for that project in a bag, and we can hand it to you.
And get those children involved.
And the teacher can read the instructions, and they've got everything they need, and they're off and running.
Well, that is wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us. And parents, this is for all of us. And as Maureen was just sharing, it is for teachers. If there is a teacher out there that is perhaps interested in knowing more about this organization and how you can get your classroom involved. And again, if you would like more information, you can visit their website, which is on our screen. And if you have any questions, you'll find your answers there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.